Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and in today's video we're going to make a simple pin, something similar to this. We're going to take a piece of 1 inch. I suspect this is cold roll. I do know it's kind of gummy, but going to be some simple turning to turn that 1 inch down to the 7/8 on here. But we also got some tapers to turn down here and a little bit on this end as well. We'll do 90% of today's job is going to be on the lathe. So let's turn over to it now and get started. Okay, as I said, the majority of this is going to be done over here on the lathe. So we're going to start out first with simply putting, let's say, center in the end. All right, I didn't point out before when I was introducing this video, but the purpose of making another one to replace this one's too short. This, of course, is a pin that goes with my tractor implements, and this one was in the toolbox and it's been used, but I'm not sure what for. But we need one a couple inches longer, so that's what we're making today. I'm going to get that out there pretty good. I need to turn about 5 inches of this down. I need to only leave about 0.8 up here in the for the taper in the end. So what we're going to do now is pull the center up, or put a live center in. All right, and I want to get be sure I got my lathe carriage to the point that we can reach the end. Then I can position my tailstock. I've already done some preliminary measurements, and I know the length that I need to turn down on here is 4.9 inches. So I'll zero out there, come up to 4.9, and just like you've seen in so many of my videos, I will set the carriage stop right down here. All right, I'm going to touch off. And I'm going to take about 80 thousandths at the time. That's 40 thousandths on each side. We just come right up to our stop down here. All right, I'm going to take a measurement now. Like I say, this is kind of gummy material, so we may have to polish this shaft a little bit. 919. All right, I'm just simply turning over to my DRO now and putting these dimensions in. 0.919 minus the 0.750 is what we want. So we got 168 thousandths left to go. Should have about 30 thousandths left to go. That says 28 thousandths, okay, and DRO says 27 thousandths. So we just don't want it. We want it very close to 3/4, but thousandths or a few thousandths under would be fine. Just don't want it too large. Again, I don't know what kind of steel that is, but it sure is gummy. So I'm going to take the little 1/2 by 18 sander here, put the lathe in reverse. All right, give it one final measurement. 748.5. So that's great. All right, I'm going to let that cool just a minute, and then we're going to slide it in and put a taper down here on this end. All right, this has had time to cool some, so let's just slide it back up into the bore. I'm going to go ahead and get my carriage stop out of the way down here. All right, this little taper we want on the end, we're going to want it, the length of it, about 1/2 inch. So again, I'm going to zero out the DRO right there. Come in about 1/2 inch. And put just a little witness mark. All right, now I'm going to set my compound at 8.5 degrees. That'll give me about the same as what I can measure on this one. This is stamped out or sheared off, so it's not a real good example I can use, but close enough. All right, I've got the compound set at about 8.5 degrees, something close. All right, over here, this hand, the carriage lock, I'm going to lock the carriage down right here in this position, and I'll just use the cross slide to feed in. I'll use the compound to make the cut, but the cross slide to feed in. And I'm just down here now taking the live center out of the tailstock so I don't bump my hand. One more little, just a few thousandths here. All right, that took it out to our witness mark. We'll put the lathe in reverse again. All I'm doing here is just rounding off the transition. All right, now we're ready to turn it around and actually get to some designer, if you will, turning. I'll get my compound swung back around in its normal position, which for me, I usually set it around 30 degrees. That's what I got used to having, or what I got used to reaching for the compound handle. And then we'll turn this pretty much back at perpendicular to the workpiece. 0.806. I was looking for about 800 thousandths. We're going to come in now. We're going to leave a little bit thicker shoulder right here. We're going to come in 0.6 inches from the end and turn that down to, I think that needs to be about, or we want it to be about 800 thousandths, yep. So just like before, zero out the DRO right there, come in 600 thousandths, set the carriage stop. $40 more thousandths. Now we want to leave a little shoulder down here at this end as well before we start our taper. But I think the first thing I want to do is measure what the diameter is down here at the bottom of the taper. And that's 450 thousandths. So if we put a parting blade in here, and move my carriage stop, I want to be sure that's perpendicular to the workpiece. Blade's sticking out a little bit more than I need here. So, all right, this outer diameter of the original piece I think is going to be pretty much dead on 1 inch. 1 inch 1,000. So 1 inch is fine. Now we want to put our parting tool up there and just touch off. And I'll zero out the x-axis. Then if this was 1 inch and I want 450, I need to take 550 out. I need to go in until my DRO reaches 550. And there's 550. Now the cut we want to make next, which will be the last cut here on the lathe, is this taper. We want to taper in from about, I don't know, 100 thousandths in there. We want to taper from this diameter down to that small one. So if we look at, and that's going to be pretty tight measurement in there. We can call that 500 thousandths, so a ½ inch. So if we want to, all right, let me back up just a step. All right, the inside diameter is 450 thousandths. All right, so small d is 450. Large D is this diameter out here. That should be about 800 thousandths. And it is. And the length is going to be we'll say 370 thousandths to the outside here. 370. All right, I'm going to go calculate that angle. And if you guys are interested in a little trigonometry video on how to calculate that angle, let me know down in the comments. I wrote a little simple Python program to calculate that. There are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of calculators online that'll help you find that taper. But if you're interested in seeing what the actual math is, leave me a comment below and I'll see about putting a video together. All right, small diameter 0.45, large diameter 0.8, length 0.37. Compound angle comes up to 25.3. We can get within a degree or two, I'll be happy. Remember, this is a tractor pen. We're not making watches here. Get the flashlight. The old man can't see very good. There's 25, and I'll just touch it beyond 25. Alright, let's see how that position. Oh, I set my angle on the wrong side. Hold on. Alright, and just like before, all the tool movement now is going to be with the compound. Not the carriage or the cross slide, it's going to be with the compound right here. Set at that angle. I'm going to lock the carriage down in place. And again, all my feeding will be on the cross slide. For all my feeding in to take more of a bite. Let me back the camera out just a little bit so hopefully you can see more of what I'm doing here. To advance the cut, I will be going in with the cross slide. To actually make the cut, I'll be cutting it at my 25-degree angle with the compound. And I'm going to keep advancing the cross slide in until my cutting tool touches that bottom cut, that small diameter. And that's it, there's the cut. And I suspect you know what's next on this piece. Put the lathe in reverse. I'm going to carry this around to the other side of the tin barn over to what I call the dirty side. And I've got a Scotch-Brite wheel just simply on the end of a motor shaft. And I'm just going to polish this up a little more over there. These kind of hard to reach places will be easier to get on that than it will with that 2x18 center. So I'll bring you right back. All right, I got the pin all polished up now. Looking pretty good. To hold this in the vise, I've got a couple parallels laid across the ways on, and I'm going to slide this in a couple V-blocks. And I'm going to slide this in and clamp it down pretty hard. Alright, now the next thing we need to do is find we want the center on the Y, and then we're going to come in about 0.75 inches from the end. Alright, kicked off, so we'll zero out the Y. Alright, kicked off, so Y 1/2. Alright, I got the table locked down there on the Y axis. We'll come out here to the end. Kicked off, we'll zero out the X axis. Now this probe is 200 thousandths. So we'll come in 100 thousandths and re-zero our X axis and then come in 800 thousandths. Or we could have just come in 900 thousandths to begin with, but the reasoning there is we want to take half of that so that we're putting the center of the edge finder over the end. That's where the 100 thousandths come in, and then we'll move over our distance. Alright, so I'm going to lock the table on the X axis now as well. Our lynch pin that will go in the end of this is actually 27/64. I'm going to go one size smaller, one size larger, 7/16. Last thing you want to do is be out there trying to hook up an implement or whatever on the tractor and having to struggle with a pin because the little bit of rust is built up in the hole and it won't go in it. We're going to take this fairly slow now because, as you can see, we got a lot of pressure out here on the end, but hopefully I got these V-blocks plenty tight. And again, since there is so much leverage stuck out here, I'm going to step drill this. We'll come down with, I don't know, this is just a bit I grabbed out of the index, a couple sizes larger than a 1/4 inch it looks like. All right, we have our pin made. I'm going to scoot around there again to the Scotch-Brite wheel, clean these burrs up a little bit, soften these edges, and come right back for a quick recap. All right, I got all the edges softened up good on where this linchpin hole is. Hope you've enjoyed this little simple video on making a pin. Maybe even picked up a couple pointers on turning tapers, outside tapers, inside tapers, sizing up and so forth. And by the way, this taper on this end down here is not a decoration. That's a handle to get hold of to pull the pin out. So again, hope you've enjoyed it. And if you don't forget to leave me a comment below if you'd like to see the math on how to calculate an angle when you know the small diameter, the large diameter, and the length of the taper. Y'all take care, and I'll see you in the next video.